welcome to Ideas with Impact podcast. Today I'm joined by someone very close to my heart, Grace Van Berkum. Grace is the founder of the Gloflex Cafe and Health Center in Nicaragua. She's a retreat leader, a holistic nutritionist, and someone who has guided thousands of people through profound healing and transformation. Her work goes far beyond food. It's about reconnecting to the body, awakening to the truth, and remembering the power we each have to heal. Grace, such an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you.
Yeah, super, super exciting. So I know that you've done a lot of traveling around the world and you have helped a lot of people to heal. But I want to go back to you and when the whole journey started for you.
Which part?
I would be most likely with the food part.
So a lot of people think I've been healthy my whole life, and this has been something that has been ingrained in me since I've been a child. And in fact, it's the opposite. I was unhealthy my whole life. From a very young age, I used food as a coping mechanism to numb myself. I grew up in a very tumultuous childhood and in a very emotionally abusive home. And I used food to numb myself and to numb the pain that I was going through. And because of the environment I was living in, I was in and out of foster homes until I was 10 years old. So, I've been through a lot, and I became a overeater. I became a closet overeater, which people are shocked at because I coached so many people on how to be at your best weight and how to have this good relationship with food. But from a young age, I abused food and I used food as a drug. And as I got a little bit older, I started realizing that I couldn't be this closet secret overeater. So I started throwing up my food. So the way I use food to numb myself kind of turned in another corner of bulimia and anorexia. And then from there, later on in my life, I turned to drugs because I was another numbing mechanism, but also it was a way to forget about food too. I was running my whole life. And finally, at a certain point, I nearly died a few times. I was very miserable. I was unhappy. And by the grace of God, I had an epiphany one day that if I didn't figure this all out, I was going to die or I was going to lead a very miserable life. So that, this is the Coles Notes version, but basically that started my journey of healing myself and trying to figure out how to eat. I realized I didn't know how to eat in my, late 20s. Part of my healing journey was that I had to mend my relationship with food and learn to love myself. I deeply hated myself. So what was presented to me was nutrition school in Canada, and that came on my path. And I went back to school to become a holistic nutritionist. I learned all about food, what it does to your body, how it affects your life. Where does food come from? How does it get to your plate? How does food affect your liver, your brain, your heart? All these different things that we should be learning as children. And as an adult learning this, I was so empowered and so transformed and so moved that something like food could change the whole trajectory of your life. So when I graduated, it became my mission to teach people what I learned and what I experienced to change my life. And that's kind of how the birth of my career of a holistic nutritionist, but also coming to a place like Nicaragua, where I live in the tropics, and building my center from scratch. And I wanted to create this beautiful space where people could come and feel safe to transform without distractions, reconnecting back to nature through the food, through the environment, learning how to sleep, learning how to eat, learning how to move, learning how to think, learning how to breathe, learning how to connect to others. All of these things help us to be healthier and happier. And that was my vision for Gloflex Health Center here in Nicaragua. And I literally took a piece of dirt and started building and started creating with no background. I mean, this is a whole other podcast, but I had to learn the construction side of things and being in the middle of nowhere and being in a Latin American country, while also, starting my business here. And I also took my dad out of an old age home and brought him to live with me, who had Alzheimer's. So I kind of had this whole journey of the last 10 years. I'm going on year 10 of major growth and transformation for myself, building this project, but then also helping others transform their lives as well. So how's that for an answer? Long answer.
That's a big journey. It's a
Yeah.
lot of processing and really trying to like truly find yourself in a way, right? Because you left Canada, you went to,
Yes.
I mean, you've traveled quite a bit from what I know, but you also were trying to build something meaningful. And like you said
Yeah.
earlier, trying to help people to really truly reconnect themselves with everything. Perhaps maybe
Mhm.
even numbing, right? Because we do all in the Western world somehow numb everything. This is what I've been learning through this process myself, speaking to a lot of people through this podcast and even myself as a holistic nutritionist. It's the same thing. We don't like facing our own pain.
But at the
Yeah.
other side of that is the biggest gifts you could ever experience in your life. And that is really the essence of what I'm teaching. Yes, many people come here for nutrition and detox and cleansing and changing their health, but it's really about facing yourself, and facing your pains and your weaknesses and your shadows and really reflecting on who you are and realizing what you need to let go of to create more space for health and love and vitality. And part of that process is just addressing your food, becoming more clear in the physical body, and also becoming more clear mentally so that you can start to dig deeper into who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? What do I need to let go of? Why am I this way? How can I love more? How can I love myself more? How can I love others more? How can I give back to the world? And really, for me, what I teach is that starts with what you put into your body.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been to your center and I absolutely love it. But you have done this for over 10 years and you've had
Yes.
all
10
different
years
kinds.
in Nicaragua, but
Okay. This,
now 16 years around the world. I
okay.
started as an international retreat business since 2010, traveling the world and doing the same thing I'm doing now. And then I settled in Nicaragua 10 years ago and built my place. Um, and then, I've been a holistic nutritionist, really focusing on helping people who are sick, who have diseases, helping people to reverse diseases or, to live a more empowered life with vitality. I've been doing that since 2006. So, wow, 20 years now. Yeah.
So in your observation, what what are people really hungry for right now? What's your like what have you noticed in the past, let's say 10 years?
Well, I think the thing is always the same, actually. It's like
Mhm.
people need to learn how to love themselves more. And we're not taught how to love ourselves. That's not something we're taught in our school systems. We're not taught how to nourish ourselves, respect ourselves, love ourselves through food. And I think a lot of people's health problems aren't just that they are eating bad foods or not eating the good foods, but we're not people don't really understand how to love themselves through the choices that they make, how to listen to themselves, how to honor themselves, how to respect their vessel. I call the body the vessel that we're in. And I think the more we learn how to listen and love ourselves, the better our health becomes. There's so much health um, information these days, and it can be confusing. And a lot of it doesn't really get to the root of the problem, which is why are we not loving ourselves more?
So why people are having such a hard time changing those habits. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. We live in a world where success is measured by how much can you push yourself. You know,
Hmm.
it's go, 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 make more money, technology, it's not the secret to health after doing this for so many years now is simplicity. It's slowing down. And I work with a lot of people, let's say, who have diseases. And part of healing the body is learning how to slow down and listen. And I always say simplicity heals. We've made life very stressful, complicated, and we need to slow down. Our nervous systems are shot, where nobody's listening to what the needs of their bodies are anymore, and nobody's resting enough. I shouldn't say nobody, but I'm saying, people as a whole, as society who's sick, like we're getting sick. It's because we're just over pushing ourselves.
Generally, yes. Yeah.
And that's why I love where I live. I come out here. I live in the middle of nowhere. I live in nature. I know not everybody can do this, but this is what my business is. I'm pulling people out of the cities and they come here to revitalize. And a big part of the healing formula isn't just the foods we're eating. And most people come to me for the nutrition aspect, but it's that we are in nature. We're slowing down. We're adopting the rhythms of nature now. We're walking barefoot. We're swimming in the ocean. We have sun on our face. We go to bed early with the rhythms of nature. We become in sync with nature, and when we do that, that's when we're most healthy, most powerful.
Do you believe illnesses can sometimes be a spiritual awakening or a wake-up call for someone?
Yeah, I think diseases are a divine tap on the shoulder saying, "Hey, let's take a look at your life. Are you living your life with happiness, with joy, with love, with abundance?" I think that diseases are a blessing, really, a blessing and an invitation to change your life. And this is why when people look at it this way and change their lifestyle and look at the things that are draining their bodies of energy and making them unwell, when people address this, so many people become better,
I have witnessed
and that's
that
the way,
at your place for sure.
yeah, I really see it as an invitation to change.
Mm. And why would they resist that kind of change?
We're not taught this. We're not taught that this might be possible, that we can get better. A lot of, you know, um, a lot of the medical system is saying you have to do it this way, and this is the only way you can get better. And a lot of people don't trust that there is an alternate solution that requires changing your life. A lot of people over the years, I've realized, don't want to change. A lot of people might resist changing the way they eat, the way they live, what the things they watch, the relationships they're in. It takes looking at every aspect of your life to see, are you living with joy? Are you living with vitality? Or are you living in a way that's draining you of that? And also, it takes courage. It takes courage to change. It takes courage to look at yourself too.
It's like resetting the nervous system because up here I live in a forest too, but like I went to the city yesterday and I noticed my anxiety, my fight or flight mode was on automatically. And my daughter, because I went shopping with her and she needed to exchange a few things in the store. And I remember coming home on the highway, leaving the city, and my whole body went from this tension to literally of like, oh, I can feel this in my own body,
Yeah.
So it's like nature has this kind of impact on us, right? And that's not even including food, but like just to be around nature and reset your nervous system, I find it too so important. And that's what I loved about your place because you really truly are sitting by yourself or in the group of people and you're just listening or you the breath work, the yoga, and everything that you do around it, even like just walking around your property and touching these trees that I've never seen, for example, noni, the stinky fruit, right? It's just so beautiful. So beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard for people sometimes when like the people who really live immersed in the city and then they come here, you can see that it takes a few days for the nervous system to settle.
Yeah.
And you can see that people are overstimulated. I mean, I can see this because I live here and I have different guests coming to my place every week. And they're uncomfortable with the slowing down. No, they
Mm.
need something to constantly distract themselves, and they're used to like we don't even have Wi-Fi in the rooms here. We have it all over the property for people who need to work, and such as myself. But in the actual rooms, we don't have Wi-Fi, so people can relearn how to sleep. There's no TVs, there's no stores near here. Like we literally live in nature, and sometimes for people, especially in the beginning, it's very uncomfortable. But then you can see that they start to feel better and better and better. In fact, some of my most challenging clients that come here in the beginning, are really resistant to, let's say, going to bed early. And I don't make anyone go to bed early, but the sun naturally sets every day at 6 because we live by the equator and it always sets at the same time. We have our dinners and then we go to bed quite early here. Like everyone says goodnight at 8. And it's not that everyone has to go to sleep, but we all, go to our rooms and do whatever. And I've had some really challenging clients before say, there is no way in hell I'm going to bed this early. And as the week goes on, they're going to bed early, like the body will quickly adapt. And by the end of a week, just a week, they're crying. They're like, I don't even want to go back home. Like I'm just starting to feel so good. So what we do here is we raise the bar of health and we raise the perception of health, because a lot of people don't even know that they can feel this good. Even a lot of people come here who are older, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and they have no idea that their health is here, that they could feel even better in just 7 short days. So it's pretty amazing.
Do you believe the body already knows how to heal if we stop really truly interfering with all the
Of course.
noise?
Yeah, of course. The body is so strong, so resilient, adaptable. And again, what I see here, my retreats are 7 days. I mean, of course, sometimes people request longer, 14 days a month. I've even had somebody here for 9 months once, but the typical retreat is 7 days. And again, we're removing all the obstacles. We're removing everything that's draining the body and infusing the body with good nutrition, plus being in nature, moving the body, being with community, learning how to breathe to calm the nervous system. And in 7 days, we see miraculous results. It's amazing. It's the way I know this to be true. I've lived it myself, and I work with thousands of clients every year, and I see the same thing over and over. Like people leave here so changed and transformed in 7 days. And the goal is to teach them how to continue feeling great and, how to apply some of the things that we learn here back home. So of course, not everyone's going to go home and do exactly what we're doing here because this is an intensive, but part of what we do here is give them the experience and then giving them the tools to go back home
Yeah.
and keep going.
And I want to talk about your book because you have a book out, which I have
Yes.
and I absolutely love. So if you could share some of the stories of how you came about it and where people can get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically a collection of my most popular delicious and healing recipes that we do here at the center on our retreats, but also around the world. So I've picked my most delicious tonics and beverages and fermented drinks, my most famous sauces. A lot of people love my sauces because, it helps you to enjoy vegetable eating, because the sauces are yummy. And I do creamy sauces and red sauces and, I use lots of different herbs and I get really creative with the sauces. And then my recipe book also has my most famous and easy entree recipes, and desserts. Everyone loves my desserts, and I make them high protein so that they're great for stabilizing the blood sugar, and they're functional. And these are my collection, my most famous ones. And what people love about it is that it's not difficult. Everyone thinks it is difficult to eat healthy, but I teach people how to do these in ways that are easy and also quick. And the thing that I also love about the book and the way I did it is very adaptable. So if it gives you lots of variations and adaptations depending on where you live. For example, like here in Nicaragua, we don't get a lot of zucchini, but I get something called chayote. But I'll say in the recipe book, if you don't have chayote, use zucchini instead, or, things like that. Like I will give, so lots of different variations. So it also teaches people you don't have to do things exactly like a recipe. It gives you lots of room for creations.
I know. I my favorite sauce is the banana.
Turmeric.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's our favorite.
Oh,
Pasta
nice.
make it. I change it because I think, like you said, I
Yeah.
think these recipes are so adaptable that you can
Yeah.
change the taste to whatever you
Yeah.
have. Sometimes you can
Yeah.
add onions, sometimes you can add garlic, you can remove it, you
Yeah.
can add hot peppers, or whatever you want. You can just kind of play around with it, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So I always say, don't be afraid of playing with food.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I teach. Like I'll be like, okay, one time you do a recipe, use cilantro. Okay, the
Mhm.
next time do basil or rosemary, or use cumin instead. So lots of different
Right.
um, suggestions to help you think outside of the box, but also change the flavor profile so you
Hmm.
don't get bored.
Right. So where can people
And
get the book?
sorry, I was going to say we're always utilizing fresh things in nature because
Mhm.
that's a big part of what I teach is how can we connect to nature more so that we feel better. And you can get the book on my website. Yeah, you can order on my website. You can order it as you need it. Yeah,
I
which is my
strongly,
name.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's my
strongly
name,
suggest.
gracevanberkum.com.
Yeah, at the end of the notes, I will definitely share your website so that way
Yeah,
people can go in there and have a look for it. So
yeah.
yeah. So what have you learned about the human potential from basically witnessing these people going through all these transformations?
Well, we're so powerful. Really. It's like
Mhm.
we are more powerful than we're ever taught to believe. And I really learned that through my dad's story. I took him out of an old age home at 83 years old in Toronto, and I brought him here because I could not bear to find out that he passed in a home in Toronto. And I don't I'm a holistic nutritionist and I'm very knowledgeable about food and how that helps with something like Alzheimer's and brain health and longevity. And, people in the old age homes, they don't have this kind of knowledge. So I thought, why don't I just bring them out to Nicaragua? I have all this land, I have help here, workers that would want to help. And I have the opportunity to do it here. So I brought him here basically to give him a safe place to die. I thought he might live like another year max, and my goal was I want him to die peacefully and happily and not in a home. And what ended up happening is he lived 8 years longer. His short-term memory came back. I got him off all his meds. He was on 4 meds when he came here. He could barely string a sentence together. And when he was doing at his best, he was off all his meds. Short-term memory was back. He was happy, laughing, drawing all the time because he used to be an artist, so he was drawing a lot. You met him. And what I learned was there is still so much power and intelligence, love, creativity, intelligence in a human being if we nurture it. Not just like here's a man in his 80s, mid to late 80s, who the doctors have said there's nothing that can be done about Alzheimer's. And then I watched a human being put in the right conditions, happy conditions, nourishing conditions, and he bloomed like a flower. And I know that my place is a healthy place. And I know everything that I've learned in school and through my experience with clients, but I never worked with somebody who had Alzheimer's before and in their 80s. And shockingly and surprisingly, I learned, wow, there you can still turn things around. There's still an opportunity to keep living and thriving if you put somebody in the right environment. So that was very empowering for me, as his daughter, of course, but also as a nutritionist, to be like, wow, there's still a lot of human potential here and opportunity for growth.
So why do you think people estimate themselves so much?
Oh, because we're
Is
not
it
learned it.
because they
We
don't believe
don't, we don't, yeah, we're not taught this. We're not taught in our system that this is possible. We're
it?
taught not to listen to our bodies. We're taught that we have to, um, you know, abide by all the pharmaceuticals and eat, what's told to us by the government. And this is how you're supposed to live. You're supposed to live this way, work these jobs, take these pills, take these medicines. We're not taught that we're powerful. We're not taught that we can reverse disease. We're not taught that, our intuition is powerful. We're not taught that we are spiritual beings. We're not taught any of this. So, there's a movement though. There's people who understand this. There's people like you and I and so many people waking up to the power that we hold. And anyone who is connected to their food and their nutrition to know that it can better their health is just scratching the surface really of like, hey, there's some power here and I have the power based on the food choices I make. And then like I was saying in the beginning, once we start on this food journey, we start to realize how much food affects other parts of our lives and how we live our lives and the direction of our lives and the people we're with. But it kind of all starts with how are you fueling your body? How are you fueling your mind?
Well, everything's connected,
Yeah.
right? So if you just take care of the food, it's great, but if you don't take care of your mind and your physical, then you kind of swimming in that water and you're trying to kind of keep your head above the water in the way, right? So when you look at the healing part of it, it's the mind, body, soul connection.
Yes. And
Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize that. Let's say at my center, when people are coming here, a lot of people just come for weight loss. I need to lose weight. I'm going to go to Grace's and do a detox retreat. And then it turns into something much more powerful. Like, yes, they start to lose weight and they start to feel better, but then it gives them more energy and more inspiration to keep going and trying new things when they go home and they go deeper into, living the life of their dreams and what's holding them back from the life of their dreams. But it's a process
Yes.
that needs to start somewhere, and again, like I keep saying, it starts with what are you putting into your body and how are you fueling your body, which in turn will helps with your clarity and your own perception of your life.
You have witnessed quite a bit of people um, going through the journey of being aware, connecting the dots, basically.
I mean, that's what my place is. That's what I wanted. Like not just a place for nutrition and teaching people about healthy eating, but you know, I I wanted to create a place and a space that supports people in really finding their true purpose, and becoming clear because and becoming happier and more joyful, and it all starts with all of us taking control of our own health. So the more empowered we are, this ripples out into the world. And my mission always in life was to help make the world a better place. So it starts with all of us individually. And the more everyone takes care of themselves, we affect those around us. And then they in turn affect those around them. And this is how we change the world. And, my mission again with this space is to create a space of healing, but um, also just to teach people we are very powerful and anything and everything is possible no matter how old we are. We make a choice in every moment of how we want to live, and we can change our minds and leave garbage behind in this moment. Doesn't matter what you did 5 minutes ago. We have the power to change every single day.
Believing in love, safety, and the environment are basically the forms of just simple medicine.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes.
If love and safety are a form of medicine, how would that impact healing on an individual if they don't have that safety, love?
Yeah. Well, even in terms of a nervous system perspective, if someone's not in a safe environment where they can be themselves, they can express their emotions. I mean, your healing will be hindered, right? Like part of healing isn't just the foods we're eating, but it's expression. So using our voices to express ourselves. And if someone's not feeling safe to express themselves, that's going to affect our thyroid. That's going to affect our emotional health. That's going to create inflammation in the body. So learning, well, I know not everyone can be in a safe environment, like people are uh, in uncomfortable situations, but doing our best to work on ourselves and be in a safe environment, be around people who support us, being around people who let us express ourselves.
Communities.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Being in the part of a community, I think, is also very important because that way you will feel the safety and you will feel the support.
When I created my center here, my goal originally was to teach people about health and food.
Hmm.
And what I've been finding over the years is that there's such amazing connections that people are having here because they are surrounded by other people on the same journeys, wanting to better themselves, looking for peace and love and better health by coming to an experience like this. And people are making great friendships and connections that last their lives, that continue to thrive even after living here. And then about year 3 or 4 into my business here, I realized, wow, the community that's developing here just because of this nutrition and health and detox retreat is so powerful. And I never really accounted for that when I was first starting to build this and having my vision. I just wanted a safe place for people to come and heal and not have distractions. And then over the years, I've realized this community connection is so important for healing. So important because people feel safe and they feel like a lot of people come here and they're not supported by their husbands or their family and what they're doing and trying to better their lives, or at least not yet supported. So they come here and then suddenly we're meeting others who are like, yeah, I want to learn about protein smoothies, or, oh, yeah, I really want to learn how to use yoga to handle my stress. And, they're meeting other people who are on similar journeys, and it's so powerful.
Yeah, it's we have to start somewhere with this journey, whatever it is. Either it's going to, connect with others, either going through a retreat, whatever it is. But you, through your retreats, you offer food as medicine. I would love
Yeah.
to ask you about what is it?
Yeah.
If you can share that with us, that would be wonderful.
Yes. Yes, so I teach 2 courses, a level 1 and level 2 certification program called our Food as Medicine program. And basically, I teach people how to use food as medicine, how to use food to heal the body, how to use food so that you can thrive, prevent diseases, reverse diseases, how to use foods from nature, not just the veggie or the fruit, but how do we use the leaves and the seeds and what combinations, and how do we cook them? How do we prepare them? How do we make tea from them? So we learn about utilizing what's in your environment so that, we feel better and that our bodies can feel stronger, our minds can feel clear. And then I also talk about, a small portion of this course too is I talk about how can people use this as a business actually, and not just using food as medicine to help themselves and their families, but how can you use this and teach workshops, continuing to share this information with the world? How can you use this and do online classes? How can you do your own retreats? So it's a very well-rounded program. And while we're learning all this, while we're doing the food as medicine course here at my center or in southern Nicaragua, we're also going through the experience of using these foods so we can feel what it's like in our own body to eat them for 7 to 14 days. So it's a very well-rounded, powerful course.
You mentioned that you teach people how to connect with, let's say, eating leaves or eating seeds. So
Mm-hmm.
let's go with papaya, for example, because we know that we can eat the whole papaya, right? What's so important, or what is in the seeds that is so good for us?
Well, the seeds are very good for parasite cleansing, which is a very, hot topic these days. So I teach people, of course, the benefits of papayas. They're so high in enzymes, different things you can do with papayas. It doesn't have to be sweet. It doesn't have to be just like a papaya smoothie. We do things like papaya ceviches, papaya frittata. So different uses for papaya, let's say. And then with the seeds, we have different things we do. I do a papaya seed sauerkraut. We do a papaya seed granola. We do
Because
papaya seed.
papaya seeds are very peppery, right? They're
Yeah.
spicy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're very, very medicinal tasting. So not everybody, like if we do it raw in a salad dressing, we have to use a little bit or it can be very overpowering. When you cook it, it's obviously not as powerful, but we're still getting some benefits from it. So I teach people how they can cook it or they can dehydrate it and grind it into a powder, or I ferment it. I do a papaya seed sauerkraut, which is amazing.
Interesting.
And then we do in our granola, it's phenomenal. So yeah, lots of different things we can do with it. So again, of course, if it's fresh, it's more powerful, but it's harder for people to have. So I'm trying to teach people how to utilize these things from nature where things still taste delicious. That's why my programs are so popular. It's not that I'm just teaching about like food as medicine or how to use food to detox, but I'm very well known for taking these foods that might not normally taste good and how to make them taste good. Because
Just
I'm
like,
really trying to teach people that healthy eating doesn't have to be depriving.
yes.
It doesn't have to be boring and bland and like such a sacrifice. It's like it can be delicious, and satiating and fun to eat. And that's part of helping people stay on track is teaching them, yes, we can do really healthy and yummy things with these ingredients.
When I was there, it was first time I experienced eating banana peel.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
never knew that you could do that. So,
Yeah.
what's in banana peel and how can people integrate that in, their
Yeah, I mean, banana
not
peels are
only in
high
their
in fiber.
diet, but in their food system, right? Like the way that they create their foods.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I would never, I would tell most of my clients, unless you're growing your own bananas, I wouldn't use the banana
Oh,
peels.
because they're sprayed
And
heavily.
yeah, yeah, I only use the banana peels that I get from my own trees. I'm lucky to have my own trees, but yeah, there's a lot of, especially with leaves and outer skins. Like a lot of people throw out outer skins of veggies and fruits that are actually edible, but you want to make sure it's an organic source.
So, if you get organic bananas, you wouldn't recommend.
I don't really believe everything's completely organic anymore, unless of course you have a farmer friend. But I guess in North America that would be hard.
Well, north here in Canada, we unfortunately don't have those abilities to grow on our banana trees, but
Yeah. Well,
um,
and a big part of what I teach is like you don't have to eat bananas or avocados or the things I get here, coconuts. I mean, yes, they're great, but learning how to utilize the foods from your own environment is going to be very healthy and much easier, And I don't really believe in shipping papayas into Ottawa and eating that, A, it's not going to taste good, and B, it's, you know, you're losing a lot of the nutrition for the travel time, and it's not good to eat foods that travel that much anyway. So how can we like understand what's in our environment and utilize that?
So what about sustainable eating? What are your thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
that's more sustainable, like eating what's in your environment. It's more cost effective, it's more nutritious, you're eating with the cycles of your environment. Um, Again, like, you know, I get a lot of people who come here and we use a lot of fresh coconuts, bananas, papayas in our menus. Um, and then my clients will tell me, oh, I got a papaya, you know, shipped in from, like, let's say from Toronto, shipped in from Mexico. And it was like $10 and it tasted like crap. And I'm like, yeah, that's
It's
not
just-
sustainable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
different way of producing it. So if someone leaves your retreat and let's say they go home and they try to integrate food as medicine in their life, what are the easy steps for them to follow?
Well, using
So,
natural foods. I
so
have
they
this
stay
one
on the
guy.
tracks, for example. You get a
Yeah.
fly?
Yeah, it just keeps landing on my head, so that's why I'm doing this. This is part of the tropical living
Yeah.
hazards here. Yeah, just looking at how can we minimize our chemical consumption. So that's what's medicinal. How can we eat more fresh, without chemicals, without preservatives, not processed? I mean, that's also essentially what I teach here. Let's take some foods from nature and create something delicious that's not packaged and not boxed. Um, and you know, we were talking about this in the beginning. We live in an environment now where everything's mass produced, you know, everything is over processed and we're losing all the nutrition and we're eating way too many chemicals now. And that's not even talking about the chemicals in our soils, you know, in the air and all around us. So part of being healthy is coming back to what I said also in the beginning, simplicity heals, and learning how to utilize fresh foods from nature and create them in really delicious, easy, simple ways. That's what I would say, no matter where anyone lives, is let's look at where you're getting chemicals from your food, from your environment, you know, uh, you know, from your household products, from your beauty products. Let's look at all that and how can we minimize that so your liver is not working as hard, so you're feeling better. Like that's part of what's making us sick these days. That's a big component to what's making us sick. We're inundated with too much chemicals, and we're not robots. You know, we're humans, and we need nutrition. We need fresh foods to feel our best, to reverse diseases. You know, we're so disconnected from nature. That's what I'm trying to teach people. Let's connect to nature through the foods we eat and just being in it.
My question was
Oh,
about liver
okay.
detoxification. What would be the recommendation for someone if they want to start off um, going through the process of elimination and they want to detox their liver and live a healthy or healthier lifestyle?
Yeah, well, in a nutshell, I mean, you want to look at what are you eating that's overloading and overburdening the liver, and how can you support the liver in removing toxins? A lot of that is people are dehydrated, first of all. So before I would ever even start a liver cleanse, we need to get people rehydrated. We would look at like, are you drinking enough water? But also, what are you drinking that's dehydrating your liver? So it's not just about the water that intake you need to have, but are you drinking too much soda, coffee, milk, alcohol? We need to look at all these things. And then using fresh foods from nature to help support the liver health, you know, lemon water, ginger water, sulfur veggies, garlic and onions, chlorophyll enzymes, you know, looking at foods from nature that would help support the liver health and releasing toxins. And then, of course, when you're thinking about a liver cleanse and helping to cleanse the liver, you want to make sure your channels of elimination are open. So, making sure that your colon is working well so that you can release toxins. That's very important. And you also want to move your body. You want to get your lymph moving and move your body so that your body can also release toxins.
Yes, lymphatic system, the whole system, yes. The
Yes.
sunshine, open your eyes. Yeah. It's like we said earlier too, everything is so connected. Yeah. So if someone is listening to this conversation and they want to get on the path again for, rejuvenation and really truly look into healing themselves um, uh, with food, what would you want them to understand about the power that we can do with food, or we can heal ourselves with food?
Yeah, I would tell people like start slow. It doesn't have to be this big leap. Um, start with small changes that you can do every week. And that way the process will be easier and more enjoyable and not drastic. And that way you'll be able to feel the results within your body as well. When you change things too fast, your body's going to go through a detox period, which can be quite uncomfortable and challenging for people physically and mentally. So I would say start slow. Start with the hydration. Start with the hydration in the morning. Start with your having a green drink or a green smoothie, increase your protein at every meal, having more fresh foods, having a vibrant salad with a wonderful raw sauce. Like there's, a whole list of things that you can start to implement. So it's not overwhelming. On any level, and that you can really start to notice the results. Oh, I'm having more energy. Oh, I'm sleeping better. Oh, I'm eliminating more. Um, oh, I'm not as stressed out at work. It's really a very powerful part of the process of transformation is to really notice how your body is changing, because that encourages you and inspires you and empowers you to keep looking for those signs from your body, because ultimately your body is always going to give you feedback. Is this right for me, or is this not right for me? Is this good for me? Is this not good for me? Is this energizing for me? Is this draining for me? So the more we start to tune in to our bodies and realize like, oh, this is really helping me with this, the more we start to trust our bodies and listen more. And that's a big part of being healthy, is just listening to our bodies.
Baby steps. Don't do anything in big leaps, because that way you can fail. So just take baby steps.
Yeah, it's just, I don't like to use the word fail, but it can be overwhelming, and a lot of times when people, try to do everything black or white, or try to do things too quickly, they set themselves up for a fall. And and then if it's not sustainable, in the beginning, then when they fall, then a lot of times people are discouraged from keeping going. So we want to do it in a way that is enjoyable, that's loving to the body. And that also comes back to the intention of why are we doing this, what we talked about in the beginning. Why am I doing that? Because yes, I want to lose weight and feel better, or, heal my disease, but I also want to learn how to love myself. That's really should be the intention. I want to learn how to love myself, be comfortable with myself, and respect myself enough to make these choices and decisions. Without the love factor, doing this for the reasons to love ourselves more, in the end, it's not sustainable. In the end, we lose our drive to do it. When it becomes about loving ourselves more and honoring ourselves, that's the most sustainable. And you asked that question, what makes things sustainable? That's what makes things sustainable, is doing this because we want to live our best lives possible, because we understand that we are here to live our best lives possible, because we deserve to live our best lives possible. And that can be challenging for people. That was a very challenging part of the beginning of my journey, is none of the health things that I was doing I know would last, unless I knew it was because I wanted to love myself more. And that was, a task in itself, to learn how to love myself and feel that I deserved it. So I understand it's challenging for a lot of people, but This is our duty. This is why we're here, to learn to love ourselves more so that we can love others.
And that is also why you have created this beautiful place north of Nicaragua where people can really go and dip their toes in what it's like to really feel and reconnect with themselves and truly find out that the possibilities are as wide as the ocean, Pacific Ocean, because you're right on the Pacific Ocean. So, yeah, yeah. Grace, thank you so much for all this beautiful information and your story and sharing again your time with me. I really appreciate that. So, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me and enjoying my space, and thanks for believing in the vision.
Thank you.